This is Modern Photo Solutions, helping you find modern solutions for life's photographic journey. Taking you from photo overwhelm to photo fabulous in just a few taps. Your story matters. It's time to start telling it. Hey everyone, welcome to Modern Photo Solutions. I'm Steph Clay, and I'm here today with Becky Higgins, who my listeners are probably most familiar with because of her development and creation of the Project Life system and the Project Life app. Welcome, Becky.
Hey, Steph.
Thanks so much for being here.
Ed.
Our path crossed for the very first time, I think it was in about 2010. Right.
Yeah, you'll have to remind me. So, because I have lots of memories of our paths like crossing, but I can't remember the very first. So yeah, tell me, what was in 2010?
Well, I think the very first time, I mean, there were, little bits here and there, but I think the very first time was when I boldly emailed you just after you had launched the Project Life physical system and begged you and nagged you to bring it to digital.
So that was our first encounter?
I kind of think
I totally remember that, but I didn't know that was the very first time that we had actually
interacted.
Talked.
Yeah.
Interacted.
I think so. I think it was. And that's, I mean, you've been part of my life. You don't know it for a really long time.
But that was pivotal. That was pivotal because you did. Yeah, I definitely remember that. You reaching out, your bold email that I for sure loved. And yeah, that's what I remember too, is you just saying this has to be digital as well. And I think my response at the time was probably like, hold on, because right now I'm getting 3 hours of sleep a night and I have 3 babies at home and hold on.
It was no. It was I think is what it was.
It's just hang in there. Just hang in there. One step at a time. Yeah, that was for sure in the season of David and I, my husband and I, just getting this thing off the ground. No employees, no office, no team, no support, just us, just trying to survive.
Yes. Good and then I was persistent and I emailed you again. And I think it was after that we talked on the phone and you had a lot of questions and you ended up bringing it to digital.
Yes. Yeah, we sure did. So thanks for being an instrumental part in the begging and pleading
and pushing. I know I felt it was really out of my comfort zone.
Well, isn't that what we've got to do sometimes?
For sure. Yeah.
That's how we get results, right? Well, and digital scrapbooking had obviously already been well established. It was well established back in the days of creating keepsakes, which of course is my background with that magazine. And so it was definitely a natural extension of the physical product, but I wasn't there yet. I knew that I couldn't do that yet. And so I think that your persistence I know that your persistence played a role in getting that to actually go. And then we just got the right people in place to make it happen, because that's certainly not my forte. And it happened. And here we are. Yeah.
Yeah. All these years later. And really, it's not that many years later, but it seems like forever ago.
It does.
And especially with everything, the new products and everything that have come since then, which I remember, one of our interactions that I remembered was at CHA in California when I hosted a breakfast that you came to.
Yes. Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about app development at that time.
Okay, so was I already in development? Was I just talking about how that was
talking about it? Okay. You were just talking about ideas, and I could tell at that time that you had really big ideas. But at that time there weren't even any collage apps in the app marketplace. I mean, nothing that was, and so I could tell that you had really big ideas, but I didn't know where you were going to go with it, and I had no idea that it was going to be what it was. So tell us a little bit about when you decided that you wanted to do this and how it evolved into this big thing, because really it's life-changing for a lot of people.
Oh, it is for me. That's why it was created. That's why Project Life was created, is because I needed that solution for my memory keeping and my documenting. And that's why I created it, and just figured if it helps me, then it must help other people too. And so, going back to your question about the app. So digital happened, as we just talked about. gosh, if I could dust the cobwebs off my brain and go back, I really think that the app conversation between my husband and myself was happening probably before digital or around the same time as digital. Like it took a while to get it to launch from the time that we were having pillow talk about that thing.
Right.
And trust me, there was a lot of pillow talk because when you run a business with your husband, you talk about it over dinner, you talk about it as you're going to sleep, you talk about it on date night, you talk about it, So that's the phase that we were in for sure. Different story now, but yeah, we were thinking about that very, very early on. And I distinctly remember my husband, who is more technologically savvy than I am, saying, this is it, right? Like, that this is going to be the thing. This is what's going to help people the most, because he and I both, by the way, he is not a memory keeper. In fact, he can't even keep a list to save his life. Like, we are so wired differently. And that's why he doesn't make lists or do any documenting, because we've been married for 21 years. He's become very accustomed to me doing all of that. But when it comes to technology, I lean on him a lot. And so he, being far more of an app user than me at that time, definitely made it so clear to both of us to get that feeling of, yeah, this is a no-brainer. I'm on my phone, you're on your phone. Like, of course we're on our phones. So if we're wanting to take this to the next level and help people in a way that is so relevant to right now, then it has to be something that's in the hands. It has to be in our device. And so, so those were the early stages. And then I think that, of course, lots of conversations, lots of brainstorming, lots of just big picture thinking. When you're talking about that breakfast, I probably was in the thick of very, very big picture, long-term visionary processing kind of, it's a very creative process when you create any product, whether it's physical or otherwise. So it was, let's see, when did we launch the app? It was in 2014. I want to say September 2014. Yes. And I believe that either January or February earlier that year, so the very first part of 2014 is the part where we got our app developer actually in our living room, and I passed out a PDF, printed out pages and pages of notes of details of, this is what it is, this is how it works, this is how it feels, this is the vibe that the app user would have going through the motions, and we kicked it off. So obviously, months leading up to that, it was researching, finding a developer, finding someone we would feel is a good fit, and all the brainstorming that I was talking about. So I think that by the time we secured our developer and had him sitting with us in our home, and going through all of that, it was probably 7 or 8 months probably of actual development. So yeah, it is a process, that's for sure.
For sure.
And it continues to be. It's not done.
They're never done.
No.
That was one thing that, because when we talked at that breakfast, I had had a developer develop a few apps for me, a couple of apps for me. And that was one thing that I didn't understand when I got into it, is the apps are never done.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's not like you just create it and ta-da,
yeah,
and that's it. Like, no, that's what current technology gives us, is that ability and that freedom to continually update it, make it better, add bells and whistles, make more sense. And that's cool. So there's pros and cons to that, of course, but I lean more toward there's more pros with the Project Life app, because we are constantly listening, we're experiencing, we hear our customers, we have the longest list you could ever imagine of all of the bells and whistles that people want us to add. And I can tell you, we will never add all of them, because that would go against the philosophy of that, that is ingrained in me and in this app and in this system, which is to keep it simple. But we are constantly working on making it better. That doesn't mean that every single feature that people want is going to come, but it does mean that month by month by month, we're making it better and better and better.
For sure. And when you jumped into it, did you realize that's how it would be? It would be an ongoing forever process?
I knew that in a sense of we have so many collections of Project Life artwork. And, for any listeners that are less familiar with Project Life by chance, that, that supporting artwork is what goes with your pictures and your memories to kind of pull it all together in a way that makes you feel like you're being creative without having to actually do all of that work. Excuse me. And so yes, I knew that, and we as a team knew that this would be something that would be constantly updated just from the artwork standpoint, because we have so much in our backpack, right? We have tons of artwork. And so we knew that there would be updates for all of that. As far as features, I don't know that I thought about it too much. I'm sure that our developer knew. I'm sure that Carrie, who on the team, she probably assumed, and Laurie. But I'm thinking, we'll get this app, we'll add artwork, we'll do an occasional update. But really, we have updates, not every single month, but most months. So
yeah, and you're not only adding new artwork, but also features each time.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Which is great. I mean, if it weren't for that, if we just launched the app and just said, here you go, and we're done, and just adding artwork, we wouldn't have printing available through the app. We wouldn't have photo books available through the app. We wouldn't have folders to be able to organize your completed pages into groups, which a lot of us, appreciate so much because we need to with our organizational brains. Yeah, it goes on and on. There's so many features. Yeah, we could talk about it all day. I know you and I could talk about it all day. I know you love the app as much as I do, and it is a game changer. And my goodness, to lay in bed, I would have never in a million quadrillion years, 5-10 years ago, ever guessed that I would be scrapbooking or memory keeping or documenting or preserving my family's memories in the horizontal position right. with my head on my soft pillow whenever the heck I want to. It is so, I still get excited about it.
I know. And what's cool for me is that these are the things that I dream about. I totally imagine and dream, wouldn't it be great if, and I'm so grateful that you've done this so that I can have this ease and this ability to get so much accomplished, so much of my story told anywhere, anytime.
Yeah. And you're blowing my mind with your progress. It's just the storytelling that you have done and how much you have preserved is inspiring. And I hope that listeners that are following your journey and the journeys of those that you're talking to are in turn feeling inspired to do that themselves. Because it is, and it's not for everybody as far as the quantity, right? Like we're not all expected to create books and books and books of all these preserved, detailed memory. Like if there's any takeaway that people feel from you and I chatting, I hope that it's that. Please do not feel that you should be doing what Steph is doing or what I am doing or what anyone else is doing. Right. I think that, as long as you're doing something, whether it's on a regular, ongoing, consistent basis, or it's just a project, you did that 150th anniversary project for your parents, or you did that one trip or whatever, it's something, and something is better than nothing. And I think that too often we have people who are either, already in this world of memory keeping or not, who just feel like it's all or nothing. And I think that's a very easy feeling to have, especially for people who don't really get what it can be and how simple it can be. It's very easy to think, oh, well, that's what they do. So that's like, surely they do that all the time and that's their thing. And so it's not really my thing. And that all or nothing mentality is single-handedly keeping a lot of people that you and I both know away completely from doing any preservation of their stories and memories. And that's not what this is about.
Yeah, for sure. And you and I are kind of on certain things. We're polar opposites.
On what?
On how we do different things. For instance, you keep your photos to a minimum. I never delete.
Mm-hmm. I'm a big deleter.
I know. And I'm like, no deleting. So, and that's, I think, really good for people to see, because
absolutely,
you have to find what works for you. And the only way you're going to find what works for you is by experimenting.
Amen.
And just trying different things, and I've always said there is a method of documenting and memory keeping for every person that will make your heart sing. You just have to find it. You just have to try different things until you figure out what it is.
Totally. And I have to just piggyback on that. This is what I love so much about your podcast. And this is what I love about when I get on Facebook Live. I do broadcast Facebook Live about weekly-ish or so. And we both obviously have a lot in common as well.
Yes.
But speaking of the differences, that's what I fully embrace, and it has me so excited. And I hope that other people feel that too, is I think it's super valuable to hear the very different approaches that people take with picture taking, with memory preserving, with storytelling, with all these things, because whether they're listening to you chat with somebody or listening to a podcast that's related, or watching me on Facebook Live, or reading a blog post of somebody in the space of memory keeping, or whatever it is, you're going to gravitate towards something. Yes. And when you do, it's for a reason. It's because you are individual. We all are. And you're going to gravitate towards something that just seems, for whatever reason, it just seems to make sense for you. And so, let's go back to you talking about deleting and not deleting, for example. That's actually a really great example of how we approach things differently. I'm a huge believer in deleting, not in a way that I think everyone should do that, but for me, it makes so much sense. And that's a very psychological thing. I feel like in this world of just tons of overstimulation and just so much stuff, and just mucho much, right? Everywhere we look, it's no different with the digital assets that we have in our life, and that includes pictures. And so for me to go through my camera roll every day and delete and eliminate those pictures that I know I just won't do anything with, and only keep a few, I've really developed that love of less is more. It makes so much sense for me. And at the same time, I look at people like you, or like you, not just you, but like you, who are never deleting anything. And it kind of gives me a panic attack.
See, it's the opposite for me. Deleting gives me a panic attack.
Amazing. It's really cool. And that's the whole point. I'm probably talking a little too much, but I just love that. I love that there are such a variety of approaches to all of this. And the hope, of course, for you, for me, and for anyone who's trying to help other people, is that we guide people in a way that helps them just stick with something that makes sense for them.
Exactly. That's exactly why I think both of us are doing what we're doing. And the best feeling in the world, and the best news I can hear, is hearing from somebody that they've been trying things for years and finally had something click for them, and they're getting stuff done.
Yep. Best feeling. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about your personal documenting, because you have several different ways that you're documenting your life and your family, your kids, everybody's stories and your lives. Let me make sure, I want to run down the list. Let me make sure that I have them all. You have a family album that you create with the Project Life app.
Check.
And you print those as photo books, right?
I do now that we have that available. Yes. Yep.
Okay. And you do individual albums for each of your kids.
I do.
And is that physical Project Life?
They are. And do you want me to expand on that a little bit?
We're going to. Let me finish my list.
Yeah, keep going through the list. Yeah, you're like me. See, that's what we have in common. Let me get to the list, and then we'll go back.
Yes, and then we'll go back and go through everything in detail.
Totally. Yeah, keep going.
And then you also have notebooks or journals kind of that you keep for each of your kids?
I do. Yep.
Okay. Is that all, or is there more?
That is not all.
Okay, let's hear what else there is.
Another thing that I do, which is completely unrelated to the product and the service that I offer, is chat books. And I'm sure, I know you're familiar with it, but for people who are not familiar with chat books, and again, emphasis on zero affiliation. I love chat books and they love me, and we are, we're industry friends, right? But we have no association. I don't benefit from telling people about it, except that my whole mission has been helping people preserve memories. So whether it's something that I happen to sell or make available or not, it doesn't matter. I'm not in this for any amount of greed whatsoever. So Chatbooks is an app, or you can go to chatbooks.com, but it allows you to print it's automatic. And I know we all have automated anything, right? So it allows you to print or have printed basically your social media feed or a hashtag on your social media. So going back to the specifics of how I use it, I definitely do not print my entire Instagram feed because the way, and I'm a little unique in that I don't have a personal versus professional or business Instagram account. I have at Becky Higgins LLC. That's it. That's the Becky account, right? And so that is mostly business, right? It's sharing new products, giving inspiration. We share photo tips. We share BH favorites, which is the team various favorite things that has nothing to do with, anything, but just we love this and we think you'll like it too kind of stuff. So that's all going on. And so if I were to print that whole thing, I would have hundreds and hundreds of chatbooks because we post a lot. So this is what I've done though, is in addition to that business related sharing, I for sure, and I know you know this, but I share personal anecdotal stuff as well. It just kind of, I am the brand. And so it just kind of keeps it, personal enough, but nothing that I ever share is ever too personal that I wouldn't want people to know. So because of hashtags, I have printed several series. So for example, we have hashtag BH behind the scenes. Now that stuff, it's not new products or announcements or tips necessarily. It's just behind the scenes. We're very consistent and we have a lot of fun sharing what we do and how things work behind the scenes. That's just, as a small business owner, that's been such a fun thing for me. And I'm a natural documenter. So that kind of stuff just comes out. Well, I've printed, in fact, I just shared this picture on Instagram and Facebook. But there's a picture of a stack of chat books in our office because when I printed that hashtag BH behind the scenes, now it prints all of those pictures. I did nothing. I didn't go through them, and you can go through and eliminate or change captions or delete captions or whatever. I didn't want the extra work. What I like about chat books is the automated, capabilities. And so I just printed the whole thing and it took me minutes, right? So that's how that works. And then I also have a hashtag BH loves Arizona. Now that has nothing to do with business, but I have a love for beauty and nature, sunsets and trees. And, and Arizona is so, you're here now.
Yes.
So vastly different from the Valley of the Sun, right? The Phoenix area. And then you go 2 hours north to Flagstaff. That's like a second home to us. And it's a totally different world, 7,000 feet elevation change, but it's still Arizona. And I'm not an Arizona born and raised girl. I'm from Maryland. And so I've learned to love this. I'm a girl that's going to bloom where I'm planted. So I have learned to love this desert country. And so I took that hashtag and printed it through chat books. And so I have this, little series of a few books for my family. That's just BH loves Arizona. And so that's how I use chat books. And sorry, I didn't mean to elaborate because I think we got through the list, right?
Yeah, I think so. And if there's anything else besides chat books, then
I think that's
okay.
Those are the main things. Yeah,
okay,
for
good.
Sure.
Good. That's all really good stuff. I totally forgot about the chat books, but that was the detail.
And I do have a PS on that. And this is actually the most important thing that I want to mention about chat books is I set up a private Instagram account specifically beginning with the end in mind. That's a philosophy that I share constantly with regards to storytelling and memory keeping. But I began with the end in mind, knowing that I'm going to share family history photos with my family, meaning my parents, my brothers, and their wives, children. So that, my whole side of the family. And I'm doing that with the end in mind, meaning knowing that every 60 pictures or pages that are kind of added to that, Chatbooks is automatically going to send it to me. And I did that not just for my family, but for my whole extended family. And so, in fact, I just shipped off Valentine's packages to everybody in my family, all of, one for each family and one for each of the adult children who are college age, who are not living with their families. And it's the little chatbooks, and it's of our family history. And they're pictures from our childhood all the way back to the earliest pictures that we have from a few generations ago. And it's incredible. So that is actually my main thing that I love about Chatbooks, is having that private family history account that I use for that purpose. And if anyone wanted to kind of see an expansion of that explanation and a visual, then on my Facebook page, you can search my Facebook Live broadcast and find that family history topic that I covered. It's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a great idea. Such a great idea. Okay, your family album that you're doing with the Project Life app. One of the big questions that people have is how to decide what to include in the family album versus kids albums. So talk to us a little bit about how you do that.
I would love to. It's good. I've actually really evolved in my philosophy on this, and so it's still pretty fresh. And honestly, I haven't explained it fully yet because I'm still in the process of doing some catching up in my kids' albums with this newly adopted philosophy. So your listeners are actually the first to kind of hear
Yay!
about this. Here's an exclusive for Modern Photo Solutions.
Perfect. We love it.
It's really exciting to me. I have felt incredibly liberated, and this is why. I put my heart and soul into the family yearbooks that we talked about, not from a timing standpoint, because it takes 10 minutes tops every week to summarize our family's memories in a page that I create in the Project Life app, which then is part of the photo book. Okay, so that's how that works. Well, the approach that I take with our family yearbooks is that it is a very family oriented project. So when I say family, I mean, you're going to see stuff from my work. You're going to see the time that David went golfing with his buddies. You're going to see that award that Claire just got and the game that Porter just played in and crew playing Minecraft, right? Like there's going to be full coverage and a sampling of our family's memories and experiences. Okay, that's the family yearbook. Well, the evolution that happened is this. My kids' albums, and I do keep separate albums for them because I want them to be able to take something that is just for them. Again, not suggesting that everyone should, air quotes, should do this, but I've been a lifetime documenter, so it's very natural for me to do more. Well, the kids' albums, these physical albums, started many years ago, of course, when our firstborn, 14 years old now, was born, right? It was pictures and memories and stories and, elaborately decorated pages. And, that's how that began. And page after page after page, here's all their memories. That's great. As well as their memorabilia, the hospital bracelet and their artwork and on and on and on. Well, when I kind of got into this mode of creating a family yearbook, and especially through the Project Life app, but even before that, even with the physical Project Life, I was recognizing something about myself as a documenter. And what that is I was recognizing that my storytelling is so complete with the family yearbooks. It's so good. It feels good. It looks good. It's thorough. It's not overkill. I only have 2 pages per week, so a 2-page layout per week, and that's what I've done in the past. And this year, I've actually decided to do 1 page per week. So it's actually very it's condensed, right?
Yeah.
So then I was realizing, okay, so my family story and our memories, they're there. So how do I distinguish between the family yearbook and their books? And then it clicked. Almost in an instant. I mean, it was an evolution, but there was a turning point. I couldn't tell you when, but there was a turning point probably a couple years ago or so when I realized, wait, hold on. Why am I putting any pictures in the kids' albums at all? They're in the family yearbooks, and I don't want to double up. I'm definitely I'm an efficient documenter. I don't double up in places. I do things differently for reasons. And so to sum that up and to not expand too much so that I don't bore everyone, but I've come to this place of I feel so content about it, and I feel incredibly liberated where my kids' albums have evolved to now only include their stuff. And by stuff, I mean their report cards, their artwork, their ribbons, their awards, their whatever. And so they are almost pictureless going forward. And how can I be okay with that? Because they have copies of the family yearbooks. They will always, every kid has a copy of the family yearbook from each year. And so they have their pictures. They have the most important pictures. And remember, go back to my philosophy, less is more. And I don't mean that they should only have one picture from their childhood. I mean, there's a way to condense it. And I believe in that for me. And we have, and Steph, I know that you have an idea somewhat of how much scrapbooking, memory keeping, documenting, storytelling that I've done.
Yeah.
And I have, when I counted a few months ago, I have 147 completed albums or books.
Wow.
That's ridiculous. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm very proud of it. I'm a natural documenter, but for me, what made the most sense for me is to move forward in a direction that is more condensed and that is more of a summary and less of the massive. I mean, I was in the throes. I was the creative editor for a magazine that was all about teaching people and encouraging people to make these beautiful, elaborate, time-consuming pages. And I was there. I was in it. And so I burned out of that. That's actually why I created Project Life, because I was so done with the time-consuming part of memory keeping. I was over it. I didn't have time for it. I related to people who didn't want to do it at all, but I never stopped. I didn't stop because I created something that made more sense. So that's, Project Life. And then of course with the app, that's again the next step in the evolution of how it makes the most sense for me now. So to wrap up that whole explanation, I do create a page for my kids once in a while in the app that's a specific something or another. I just did one with Claire the other day about things that she likes about herself. It was kind of a self-esteem building kind of moment that we had, and I made a quick little app page. And I printed it 8x8, stuck it in an 8x8 page protector, and put that in her album. And it's a 12x12 album. Each kid has a series of 12x12 albums, but our holes line up in our page protectors and our photo pocket pages. So any of those sizes fit together in the same album. They don't have to be the same size. So that's how I actually do a little bit of what we call hybrid. I do a little hybrid memory keeping by putting some printed app pages in my physical albums for the kids. Did that make any sense?
It totally did. And it's actually, I had a similar evolution, and that's why I've gone the direction that I have, because I'm in my photo books. It's a lot with everything that I'm doing with the app, my daily pages. It's a lot of the family story and my story from my perspective.
Totally. You're the documenter.
Yes. And then I do have Project Life albums that my kids started that they will add stuff to where I'm putting their memorabilia. So it's very similar. I don't feel a need to create separate pages of their life from their perspective anymore. I did that for a long time when they were first born and when they were little, and I just don't feel like I need to do that anymore. We've got the family stuff, and we've got life, our life and my life from my perspective, and I think that that's good enough.
Totally. I love that. I didn't realize that that's where you were with that. And I wonder if us just even talking about this will help to liberate other people who are feeling that struggle of, okay, well, I am doing family albums, but I want to do kid albums as well. But I feel like I'm doubling up on my work. And why am I doing that? And which pictures do I choose for each? And that's the simple way that I just change that whole struggle for myself was just to eliminate the need to even print pictures for my kids' albums. And I know that that is controversial. I recognize that some people are freaking out right now thinking, how are you not putting pictures in your kids' albums? But again, it's because I've covered it. It's done. Yeah. I did it. I have it. They have it,
yes.
And so it works for me.
It does for me too. And I will do a page, for instance, my son just went on his first date, and
oh my gosh.
Yeah, exciting. And so I did do one page that included pictures. The girl actually sent me pictures.
Oh, cute.
Bless her heart. She's winning extra points already.
Yeah, she is. It's like she knows you.
Yes. So she sent me pictures, and so I did a page for him just of that I'll include in the photo book.
Totally.
And I don't have a need to do anything separate for him.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing is going back to that mentality that a lot of people have with all or nothing. I have learned, and maybe you have as well, that with so many people who want to be storytellers or documenters in some way, they really kind of, I'm not stereotyping. I'm not grouping everybody into this category. I'm saying that this is a struggle that is real for a lot of people. And that is that aside from all or nothing, it's also, well, I have to preserve memories in this way, and that is the way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yes. They get locked into this mentality of this is the only way it's going to work, and I can't ever change that.
Yes.
And that would be another takeaway that I hope that people feel as we discuss this, is that evolution is it's not only a natural thing in this quest to preserve our memories, but I would encourage it. I know that people have OCD tendencies. I totally know that. I do, and you do as well.
Yeah.
We have those tendencies, but the thing is that when people get hung up in those desires to keep things like super perfectly like lined up or matching or same, then it becomes like debilitating. Paralyzing, that's the word. It totally does, because then they're stuck and frozen and going, I can't move past this because this is the only way. And I kind of just want to help, just rub everyone's shoulders and just say, honey, it's okay. Switch it up, have fun, try something different.
Yeah.
If you're really super involved in a certain way and it makes you happy and you feel joy doing it, by all means, keep doing that. But if you are trying to preserve your memories and your stories and you are struggling and feeling stressed about it, for crying out loud, please don't be stressed about it. Like, stop, just take a break, like step away for a week or a month or whatever. And I want to say, come lay on my couch, talk to me. I'm going to help you get to a place. That's what you do too. We're trying to help people. And man, what I wouldn't do to just help everybody individually if I could. But it's just too easy to get so hung up in the stress of unnecessary worries.
Yeah. And trying to have it be perfect and know how, I always say our lives aren't perfect. And so we're not going to do this documenting thing perfectly either. It's an evolution. It's a process.
And it should be that way.
Yes, for sure.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about your notebooks and journals that you have for your kids.
Oh yeah. Okay. So, it was several years ago, and I was feeling like, because I was starting the business and I had these young kids and I was really just trying to keep my head above water with life. Through the sacrifices that I was making to help other people, the masses, with their memory keeping, my personal memory keeping was kind of suffering a little bit for a season there. And so it kind of came to me that even if I get behind on their albums and what I was putting together for them of their stories and stuff, I didn't want to lose out or miss out on those detailed just moments and the things that they say. And so that's how this kind of came about, is that I just thought, it's so simple. I mean, there's no rocket science in this. I just picked up a couple, or three, because I have three kids. I picked up 3 cute notebooks from Target, one for each child, and just decided to call it We Notice. And what's kind of special about that, and this is more important than the actual like documenting of memories, but what's really special about that as a parent is that part of the reason I did this also wasn't just because I felt like I wanted to make sure I was catching those little moments, but because I was in a season of crazy in my life. And I knew I was supposed to, like, that's not regret crazy. That's, I've got to get through this crazy to make this thing happen so that other people can have the help that I feel like they need, right? Like that's, right. I knew I was supposed to do this, and my husband and I both knew we were doing the right thing, but it was crazy. And when I say I was getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night, I really was. Well, the big thing that I felt during those sacrifices of not taking care of myself, and through sleep and exercise and proper nutrition, all those things, I and my husband both did not, through our crazy schedules, did not want to sacrifice family. And so we didn't. And that was always a priority. And that's why we got so little sleep. Well, I also realized through this crazy busy season that I was like almost starting to get that feeling that I know a lot of moms can relate to, which is I got too busy for the kids. So they were my priority, but they weren't. And I didn't know that until it kind of hit me that I'm like not paying attention to them. And I mean, really paying attention. They were fine, right? I played with them. We did things together, whatever, but I wasn't really like looking in their eyes and hearing the things that they were saying and feeling as much as I knew that I should. And so I called these notebooks We Noticed. So every little entry that I would write on a daily or every other day basis for each child, like really short and sweet snippet, started with I noticed blah, 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 or today we noticed that you blah, 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 blah. And so what it helped me to do is really like pay attention more, because I knew I was going to be writing something in their journal that night. And so I became a more in tune mother through that experience, and I've not stopped since. It's made me a better mother, honestly, keeping these little journals for the kids. And I mean little. These entries are like anywhere from 2 sentences to the shortest paragraph you've ever seen. This is not like pages. It's not even a full page ever of what I wanted to share with each of them. It's just something. It's something trivial and small, and just the way they wrinkle their nose, or it's something that they said, or it's, I'm proud of you, honey, because I noticed that you did this today, or whatever. And so anyway, you and I both know that when we take time to document our feelings, our thoughts, our memories, whether it's through memory keeping with pictures or it's journal writing or whatever, we become more aware of how blessed we are. We become more keenly aware of what we should be doing differently. We become more aware of the people in our life. And my goodness, I mean, there's so many blessings that come from being a storyteller.
It's the truth. And that's exactly what doing my daily pages has done for me. So it's interesting. You've chosen to do it in a notebook format, and I'm doing it in daily pages through the Project Life app. But that's exactly what it does for me, is I notice the little details about my life and my family and everything that you said. I'm a better mom because of it. I'm a better wife. I'm a better person, I think.
I agree. That's what happens. And I don't think that people talk enough about the psychological and emotional benefits to being a storyteller, a documenter. But it's real. And you and I both have experienced that firsthand, but it's something that people have to discover for themselves if they've never tried it, or if it's been a few years since they've been doing it. It's actually quite amazing what happens to you and your spirit as you go through the exercise of preserving memories and noticing things more likely through that exercise.
And what's amazing now is that there's science to back all of this up. All this stuff that we've felt, known for a long time.
It is neat.
It's so exciting that it's coming full circle.
For sure. And I know research scientists, psychology. I'm none of those things. Right. That's not at all my field. And I don't think it's yours as well. But we, like you said, we knew these things without really being able to identify what was happening. And now, because that research is backing it up, it's like this validating feeling of, see, this isn't just a craft. It's not just a hobby. It's like,
it's therapy.
Makes my life better. It is therapy. There's no question about it. But it also just makes life sweeter. It just does. It's so real.
Yes, I love that. That's the perfect way to put it. It does make life sweeter. That's perfect. All right. What can we look forward to coming in the app in the future?
Ooh, in the app specifically? That is top secret information.
I know.
Well, we are always, I can tell you a couple of things that we're working on. We're always trying to make it easier for people. And we have so many people. We're based in the United States, of course. And so people outside of this country, internationally, we have people all over the world in countless countries who are using the app. And we're trying to make the ability to print their pages and photo books easier, because ordering those prints that you can slip into page protectors and then put in your album is ridiculously easy. And the quality is fantastic. It's just such a great user experience. And now with the photo books, the same thing. But if you're not in the US, it's just a little bit more complicated. So we are currently working on finding the right print partners outside of the US. Companies who are so well established and known already for their quality and customer service and all of that in other countries. And more to come on that. But we're in the throes of that. And we are, what else are we working on? I don't know.
That's exciting.
We have a list of updates that we're working on for the app that are kind of smaller things, but we listen, that's for sure.
For sure. And because there have been some things that I've emailed over and said, please, 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 please.
Have you? Poor Wendy's getting a lineup of emails from Steph on a daily basis. Is that what's going on?
Well, no, the ones that I've sent, I usually, if it's a big deal important to me, I send it to you and Carrie and copy Wendy.
Yes.
And they usually show up in the app. I've been very grateful.
Well, and usually some of those bigger things that you might, say, please, 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 it's because there's probably like 100 other people, and including ourselves, going, we have to add this, we have to add this. And you know, because of the app development experience that you've had, that, man, if we could do everything all at once, that'd be great. But there's just no way. And that's why we do an app update every single month without fail. And there's always new collections for Project Life that are included. And most of those months we do an update on characteristics of the app or features or whatever. But it's just kind of like one foot in front of the other. And there's so much in the pipeline, so much. But you know what? Even if we never added another update, which of course we will, lots of them, but even if we never did, it's an utterly fantastic app that allows us to do the storytelling in the palm of our hand like we've never been able to do before. So I feel grateful for that. Even aside from business, aside from it being our app, like I, as a documenter, I just love it. I'm grateful for it.
Me too, for sure. It's a huge part of my life and what I'm doing on a daily basis, and I'm so grateful for it as well. And I feel the same way, but I'm so grateful that you're going to keep updating and adding stuff.
Lots and lots. And you can just keep on emailing us.
I will. I was, one of the things that I asked for was the solid journaling cards, and Carrie and you guys had said Carrie had said no, I don't think that's gonna happen. But then the next update that I got, it was in there, and I even made a page about it and sent it to you guys because
I remember. I do think I remember that. Yeah, that was one of those things that's like, that is so not a top priority with all the other things. But you know what I think happened on that one is that when we, because we're constantly going through that list of like the wish list, we call it, of features and updates and things like that. That was such an easy one. Like an easy, quick, like our developers like, we can do that really quick. So we're like, well, we're just going to make some dreams come true. Because
it was.
Yes. And you know what? I've loved it as well. It is great. It's a great addition.
Yeah. Good. Yay. I'm so grateful.
Yay.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to share with us?
Oh my gosh, we covered so much.
We did.
And we're going a little long, and I'm so sorry.
No, we're not. We're good.
It's not hard for me to talk about this stuff. It's just, it is a way of life. You know that as well as I do. But it's a way of life, and in the most beautiful way. And that's why we could talk about it so much. But, so if people aren't already following, how we're sharing and trying to help people, I'm Becky Higgins, LLC everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube. And of course, our home base is at beckyhiggins.com. And we're regularly blogging as well for people who enjoy reading articles on inspiration and ideas. And I mentioned that I do Facebook Live. We talk just like this, but it's visual and it's live. And people can always watch it back later, but that happens on Facebook weekly. And I don't think there's anything else I should mention.
I want to mention the Instagram account that you guys launched not too long ago, Project Life Pages.
Yes, thanks.
For inspiration with, you post different, is it mostly app pages?
It's actually very evenly split between the physical product, the digital system, and the app. And so it's all Project Life. At the end of the day, the results are similar no matter which format you take. It results in completed pages, pictures and stories that are brought together. But there are 3 different methods for Project Life: physical, digital, and app. So if you follow Project Life Pages and it's only on Instagram, then every day you're going to see something from each of those categories, which is awesome because we've got a wide audience and there's something for everybody.
That's perfect. Yeah, I love following that account. There's great inspiration there. And the nice thing is it doesn't really matter which format it is. There's inspiration to be found no matter which format you use in the other formats.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the biggest inspiration that I think we can all gain from each other through, looking at other people's pages like that is not the completed page itself, but how they documented a story, the type of pictures that they take, the way that they journaled to support the picture. That's what's inspiring.
For sure. For sure. I also want to mention for our listeners that if you haven't signed up for the free class Photo Fabulous First Step at Modern Photo Solutions, you will want to do that. It's a great way to get started on conquering your photo overwhelm. And that's one that you went through too, Becky.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very cool.
Yeah. So just go to modernphotosolutions.com and click on the big button that says Get Started. And it's a free class, 30 minutes to go through the whole thing, and you will be well on your way to getting your photos under control. Thank you so much for being here, Becky. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me, Steph.
Yeah, and we will see you next time on Modern Photo Solutions.